What's going on, Warriors? It's Coach Jay. Showtime. We're going to dive in. I'm going to talk about how building muscle is important for us. If we want to stop blood sugar lows or get more control over the lows that we are having, it's important for us to build muscle. I'm going to break down why it's important and how the body works to help you get more control over this so you can stop having these crazy lows that are just nosediving you into the ground, baby. We're done with that. So let's just dive right into this one, guys. If it's your first time on the channel, I help diabetics to control their blood sugars, burn body fat, and build muscle. But hey, if you're not a diabetic, but you like things like supplement reviews and vlog style videos, I do a lot of those as well. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell notification, hit that like button. You guys know what it is. Let's just jump right into this one. It's Coach Jay. So let me just wheel myself on in here. So I want you guys to take a look at this Picasso looking drawing that I have up for you. This is Coach Jay. Now you got to understand the key thing is that muscle helps our body to be able to preserve more glucose. If you're someone who's just training, you're working out, you're not focused on muscle building, then you're also not developing more of a capacity and a storage house for glucose. When you consume carbohydrates, it breaks down into glucose. Glucose can then get stored in your muscles as glycogen and around your liver as glycogen, which can then be used for energy when you need it. Maybe you're walking around the house, or you're performing strength training exercises, or you're taking a walk around the block. Your body can use that glycogen storage in your muscles and the glycogen around your liver that then gets released into your blood to help to minimize blood sugar lows. Now, the lower muscle mass you have on board, that just means right there, the easier it's going to be for you to nosedive into a low because you don't have the capacity or the muscle density to store more glucose as glycogen for when you need it. For example, when your blood sugar goes low, your body releases a hormone called glucagon. Glucagon's job is to spike blood sugar to keep things more in line and more level. Also, things like cortisol and adrenaline when you're having a low. But if you're someone who's low on building muscle, you're not going to have as much of a storage capacity for that glucose. Also, if you're someone who's eating low carbohydrates, this is why it's important for us to remember that diabetes, nutrition, and workouts all have to come together. Because if you're low on carbohydrates, you're also not going to be building as much muscle, which means that you're not going to have the glucose, one, from the carbohydrates you eat, which then gets stored on the liver and in your muscle cells as glycogen, which can help to buffer blood sugar lows. But you're also going to burn through more muscle tissue than someone who has more carbohydrates on board. This is Coach Jay over here. This is Coach Jay over here. Just pretend like I shaved my dreads off. It's a scary thought, but it is what it is. And over here, if you notice what's happening, our person has no equipment, but our Coach Jay over here has a helmet on. Now, imagine you're a football player on a field. And if you don't know what football is, there's a lemon-shaped ball. They chase it around the field and knock each other into oblivion. So if you're on a football field and someone's job is to knock you over, but you don't have protection on, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to get hurt. Now, muscle represents the equipment that we're putting on. In our case, it's the helmet. Now what ends up happening is when Coach Jay goes out on the field, he's got protection with the helmet. So when he's got these big linebackers that are like 6'5", 300 pounds, at least if he gets hit, he has some protection. So he'll probably walk away and still be okay. Now we've got Coach Jay over here. He's cool, man. He doesn't need the equipment. He's just walking around. And so now when you've got these 6'4", 300 pound linebackers out there or football players, they're going to knock his ass over and he's going to need to get wheeled away on a stretcher. That's what muscle does. Muscle gives us the protection, the football equipment protection that we're going to have when we go out there. So when we do have lows, when we do get knocked down, we don't get knocked down as hard as Coach Jay over here that decided not to wear the equipment. Remember, at the end of the day, guys, when you build muscle, it creates a bigger storage capacity for you to store carbohydrates in the form of glucose, which then gets converted to glycogen in your muscles. When you're working out, when you're moving around, going on about your day, you can use more of those reserves and preserve other glucose around the liver to help to protect against those lows, because now when you have the lows, you still have a storage house for more carbohydrates in the form of glycogen that got stored to help to push that into your blood so that you're not nosediving all the way down. You're maybe more coming in for more of a smooth landing so your body can manage that a lot better. So it's important for us to remember this impact of building muscle on preventing low blood sugars or reducing how exaggerated they become. I want to show you guys something else because this is also important for you to understand when it comes to building muscle, and it's not talked about ever, which is kind of crazy. So I'm going to show you guys something. Diabetes. If you guys want to build muscle, the diabetes, the workouts that you do, call this workouts or muscle development, and the nutrition all have to come together. If you're in a position where, for example, now that I'm telling you to build muscle, sure, okay, we can work out and build muscle, but if you're not eating carbohydrates, then you're going to jeopardize the muscle that you're building, and it'd be a lot more challenging for you to get to your result. So your nutrition has to be lined up with the muscle you're developing, and then the muscle you're developing also impacts nutrition that you're taking in. Again, more carbohydrates can release, which can help your body to mitigate blood sugar lows, which then connects to things like diabetes. So everything needs to come together. A lot of times, we're in a lot of positions where we skip this and we end up just focusing, okay, I gotta build muscle, so let me just screw the diabetes and just focus on building muscle. And then what ends up happening, we get ourselves in a position where nothing works because it all falls apart because we're only looking at one element.